The moment I saw my daughter's small face press against the glass of the school cafeteria, tears streaming down her cheeks, I felt a rage so hot it burned my veins. My sister, her smile fake and sharp as broken glass, stood there, shooing my little girl away like she was a stray. "She can't sit with us," she said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "We don't mix with people like you. People like me. Poor, inferior, worthless." I wanted to storm over, snatch my daughter into my arms, and tell my sister exactly what I thought of her. But instead, I froze, tasting the bitter humiliation, the kind that seeps into your bones and refuses to leave. I watched my baby trail off to a lonely corner, clutching her lunch tray, and that's when I promised myself I would never let my sister, or anyone else, treat us like that again. For weeks, I simmered. I thought about confrontation, but that wouldn't be enough. My sister thrived on control, on showing off her wealth, on proving that her life was superior. No, I needed something bigger, something that would make her feel the same sting she inflicted on my child. I had to make her entire world wobble. It started small. I watched her routine like a hawk. I noticed a fancy boutique she loved, the trendy coffee shop where she flaunted her designer handbag, the neighborhood gossip who hung on her every word. She was careful, meticulous, and I realized her life was built on appearances. That's when I smiled for the first time in weeks. If her world was about appearances, I would shatter them piece by piece. I got a job at the boutique, a low-level assistant at first, invisible, unnoticed. I learned the names of every manager, memorized their schedules, discovered the backdoor deliveries. Then came the night when I quietly rearranged the entire inventory, marking all the high-ticket items as sold online while sneaking the real merchandise out to local charities. The boutique went into chaos the next morning. Managers panicked. Customers complained. And my sister? She stormed in, her perfect smile cracking, realizing she couldn't just buy her way out of this mess. It was a start, but it wasn't enough. I needed her to understand humiliation, real, sharp humiliation. So I worked my way into her social circles, attending the exclusive gatherings she loved, pretending to be a timid, awkward cousin nobody paid attention to. I gathered dirt, not for blackmail, but for poetic justice. Photos, careless comments, little secrets she had assumed no one would ever see. And when the right moment came, I released them quietly to the people she worshipped for approval. The whispers spread like wildfire. Invitations stopped. Friends disappeared. Her carefully constructed world of influence and admiration crumbled. Meanwhile, I never let my daughter see my revenge. She deserved better than to grow up bitter, knowing her mother spent her life plotting. But I made sure she felt the power of dignity, teaching her to hold her head high even when the world turned its back. I wanted her to know that being poor wasn't shameful, being cruel was. Then came the final blow. My sister's husband, a man who adored her wealth and status, found out about her deception, the lies she told to maintain her perfect image. Their marriage fractured under the weight of her arrogance and cruelty. Suddenly, the woman who once sneered at us for eating second-hand sandwiches was alone, stripped of her social armor, forced to face a world she couldn't control. And through it all, my daughter sat at the lunch table like a queen, surrounded by friends who cared about her, not her money. She smiled at me with quiet, triumphant joy, the kind of smile that made every sleepless night, every planning hour, every moment of rage worth it. My revenge wasn't about cruelty. It was about justice, about teaching my sister that the world has a way of humbling those who look down on others. I never told her I was behind it, let her suffer in confusion, wondering why her perfect world had fallen apart. That was enough. She had learned the hard way. Wealth and status mean nothing if your heart is empty. And I had my daughter, my pride, and the quiet satisfaction of knowing we had risen while she had fallen. Sometimes revenge isn't about shouting or striking. Sometimes it's about patience, precision, and letting life itself deliver the lesson. And that day, watching my little girl laugh freely in the cafeteria, I knew my sister had learned hers.